Yeah, we here. We here. I ain't gonna be long. I'm be kind of short. I gotta go to work, man. Going to work late. Try to give it an extra hour in. But basically, when it come down to it, yeah, man. Try not to overspend. You know, try not to cook so much food if you ain't gonna eat it, cause a lot of times people throw stuff away. If you have some extra food, I suggest that you make a plate, and take it to some homeless people because at this time, man, it's cold outside. A lot of homeless people don't have no food, and to an extent, we have so much, and for us to kind of spread the love and give it to people, that's a good thing. I remember one time my wife had a dinner at her job, and they had potluck. And the thing with potluck, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's not. But they had potluck, and they had made, I think, about like 5 plates. Cause no, yeah, yeah, it was 5 plates. Cause at the time it was me and my wife and the 4 kids, but my twins, they were babies then, so they just made like a little plate for them. But my two older kids, they got their plate. My wife and me had plates. I took all 5 of them plates because she was like, she don't know if she gonna eat them. So I'm like, why you get them? She's like, cause they made everybody make plates and stuff. So I'm like, man, I ain't finna just throw no food away. So around the corner from her job, they had a little shelter and stuff like that where a lot of the homeless people be at. So I just went around the corner, just shot all the plates out to everybody and stuff like that. And I remember one time I did the same thing with I think I had like a 6 pack in the car, and dude was like, man, I'm hungry, man. Can you give me something to eat? I said, look, bro, I ain't got nothing but a bag of chips. And I like, here, I'm gonna give you something extra. I'm gonna give you. I said, you drink? He like, yeah, I drink. I said, let me go ahead and give you a bill too. So I think I gave him about 2 bills. Cause I mean, for the most part, hey, you already know when it come down to it, most of the people, the homeless people out there, they human. They got their little habits. They drink and stuff, might need cigarettes. So, I just gave it to them just to be on the kind side. But at the same time, though, like I'm saying, especially with ladies, if you're going to do this, try to go out with some men as well, or if you tend to know certain areas. But I mean, I wouldn't advise you going out there by yourself trying to, give food out to the homeless. Even though it's a kind gesture, you still gotta, understand the environment that we're living in right now. But saying the least, you know, a lot of people don't have as much around this time and Christmas, and it's unfortunate through their circumstances. They probably made some bad choices, but at the same time, being a cheerful giver is always a good thing. Helping out the less fortunate and stuff like that. I know, particularly in my church, they mostly do that in the wintertime. Have like the drives. I don't think they've probably been doing it recently since the 19, but majority go out, have like toiletries, bags of like toothbrushes, like travel toothbrushes, tissue, you know, and things of that nature. Even with the women, their items like pads and stuff, they still on their menstrual out on the street. So that's a rough thing within itself. Thinking about stuff like that when people living on the street, and then we always had like the blankets and clothes drive. A lot of my old shoes, decent condition. Just don't really wear them no more because I had so many pairs. So I would always give my shoes, my coats and stuff. Good coats. It just I don't wear them. And then it gets to a point like having too much, and that's when we start having to donate. Give to people. I'd rather more or less give it to a homeless person than take it to Goodwill. I got a whole bunch of clothes and shoes for my kids, Jordan, what's them, Kyrie, and all kind of name basketball players, LeBron shoes, and all that. And I take all them shoes and I mostly give them to people, family and friends. I call my brothers, I call family members, call friends. Y'all got kids. I'd rather give y'all this stuff than to give it to the Goodwill and then they turn around and sell it. I'd rather have some kid that actually needs some clothes and stuff because, you got kids, they spoil. Like, honestly, I bought two pair of shoes for my son. He never even wore them. You know, he didn't like them, so he didn't wear them. And so, it was to the point where, I was mad at it, but at the same time, you know, good pair of shoes. Nothing wrong with them. Never been scratched anything. Son just wore them, put them on at one time just to, see if they fit because he didn't like them. And I'm like, these are just casual shoes you can wear going to church or something. You know, didn't want to wear them. So when it came down to it, I took them, gave them to somebody else. I had a little kid, my aunt knew, I think it was like a friend of her son's, a girlfriend used to mess with, and she had a kid. So I've been giving her most of the clothes and stuff like that. Or my brother knows some people, I get them, real nice shoes and clothes. One of my sons, he take care of his shoes real good. Then the other one, I already know buy him certain shoes. That's what he like. He like to run, so I buy him like a lot of the running track shoes and stuff like that. But he like the more or less like the Prestos and the little, shoes that really not with all that leather. But kids can have their ways. But more or less, man, I just try to, give back a lot to kids that actually, really need it. And that's a thing that a lot of people keep forgetting. In this day and time, a lot of people, just don't have it. Some to an extent have money, but you gotta put forth money to other things. Me as a young kid, my parents struggled with me even to the point where I stayed with my grandmother, and there were certain things that you know elders my grandma didn't look at buying shoes over $100 was a thing. You know, I barely had to break her in to get me a pair of shoes for about $60. You know, and like I would tell her, the cheaper the shoes, the faster they tear. You know, not saying that more expensive shoes have better, wear and tear on them, but it's just the thing, quality and the material. You know, but more or less, like I say, if you have it within you to give a plate to a homeless person this year, do something, donate some money. This time around this time, I typically do give a little more and stuff to homeless. I remember my son one day. He kind of made me mad, but then it was his money. I gave both of my sons $20 for chores. You know, and so I'm like, back chores. They did the stuff. I never paid them, so I was like, here, I just give both of y'all $20 a piece. And so my son goes outside. The homeless lady asks for some money. He just give her the whole 20. And I'm like, what you do that for? I didn't ask the lady for the money back because I'm not that type to take the money back and give them less. If I give something, I give something for a reason. Even if I make a mistake, I would never go back. Excuse me. I would never go back on it to try to correct it unless it's just too like large of amount. Anything over 100, that's when I typically have that scale. Even I loan somebody some money, they know anything over 100, I need that back. $75. If I give it to you and you don't pay it back, that just further let me know not to deal with you on that level again. But I'm gonna need my money back at 100, say the least. But when it come down to it, though, it's like he gave her the money, and I was like, "Why?" He was like, "I didn't have no change." I was like, "You really don't know the value of money." I think this kid was like 8 years old, and I was like, "You know the value of money?" And I explained to him because his brother, he was like, "No, I'm not giving nobody none of my money." He's like, "Even if I got $1, why I got to give somebody $1?" And I had to teach him, about being humble and being a cheerful giver, but at the same time, saying the least, you know, it's like he just like money grows on trees because he look at me giving him money like I can always get more from you. But as a return back to my main topic though, for Thanksgiving though, I'm actually gonna be doing seafood this year. I did it I think about twice already for Thanksgiving and like for Christmas. I don't know, we might do it this year for Christmas, do barbecue and grill, but we might not. It depends. Because, typically if we skip one holiday, because you basically eat the same thing for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we try to, mix it up or do something different. So this year we're doing the seafood, we're doing the crab pasta, crab and shrimp pasta. My wife family, they deem me as the crab and shrimp pasta, maker in the family. We're doing lobster tails, we doing, the bubble gum shrimp style, all the shrimp, the bang bang shrimps, the scampi, butterfly, coconut, pretty much orange shrimp, any shrimp, fried, thick batter, whatever shrimp we're gonna get. We're just gonna do like a plethora of shrimp, and then we're gonna have crab legs, seafood boil, gumbo, and grilled salmon, and stuffed crab, and I think it was. I don't know if my wife gonna do scallop because she basically the only one that eats scallop to a degree. But yeah, I mean, we just gonna do a seafood Christmas. Typically, making the macaroni and cheese and collard greens for the kids, and oh yeah, grilled corn. Got to have the vegetables, green beans. But I think that's about it. And of course, you got the pies and stuff like that, little sweets and cakes. But other than that, mainly that's what we doing for Thanksgiving this year, doing a seafood Thanksgiving and doing something different. Because, like I say, you typically eat the same thing for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. So it gets to a point where, you're eating the same thing all the time. It gets kind of old. So, when it comes down to it, hey, in it that way, you'll enjoy your Thanksgiving or you enjoy your Christmas a whole lot better, trying to eat something different in the holidays. And like I said, one year I got that from my aunt because one year when I was young, I came over her house and we barbecued for Christmas. She pulled out the grill. It was cold out there, and she ended up doing the grill, and we ended up having ribs, uh, chicken. What else we cooked there? Sausage, and I think we had a smaller piece of brisket. Then, of course, we had the regular size in there, the baked beans, macaroni and cheese, the potato salad, coleslaw. Yeah, we had hot dogs and hamburgers as well. And, just basic stuff that you eat when you have a barbecue and hit the grill. And so it was nice Christmas, And like I say, all the food that we had left over, we pretty much still ate it throughout the week. Same thing with this when we make all this um, for Thanksgiving. One year I did the whole. Typically, every year I always cook. So last year I didn't cook, and my wife got a little salty. I helped her with a little stuff, but I was like, I'm not doing nothing this year because I'm telling her I need her to prep and do certain things to set up, but she didn't do it. So I'm like, hey, my my chef hat is off. So she was like, "Oh, you're making me cook all this year. You're so horrible." But typically both of us can pretty much cook, so it's not a thing of. But she likes my cooking better when it comes to certain things, and when most of the time when the women say they like your cooking better than me, they just want you to cook. But the good thing, like I said, all that we eating, it's it's gonna be fun, man. Like I said, We do that pretty much. I think ever since I've been with my wife about 16 years, we did it 3 times. Because like I told her, go over your family because my wife's Jamaican, so we go over our house and we typically eat the usual. They eat goat meat, so we eat the goat meat with the chicken. Um, have like the curry chicken, the jerk chicken. Typically have the oxtails, all the Jamaican food. Plus they have like it mixed in with collard greens, macaroni and cheese and stuff like that too. I ain't gonna say somebody in the family can't cook macaroni and cheese on that side, but I like, yeah, your macaroni and cheese privileges are provoked. But yeah, it's gonna be good. Like I say, having that seafood Thanksgiving, some people ought to try it, or even when it comes down to Christmas, because you're eating the same thing over and over and over again. You typically start looking at it to a point where be like, oh man, hold on, I gotta rinse some people up right quick. Yeah, y'all know my motto, man. Go ahead and um, check other people channels out. Mostly everybody in here have wrenches. So there we go. So, like I said, it's gonna be a change. It's gonna be something different, and it's gonna be actually good. And like I said, typically a lot of people start doing the seafood, and you'll get hooked to it, man. Because like I said, eating that food for Thanksgiving and turn around eating the same food for Christmas gets old. I know my wife, her aunt, we typically go over there to her house, because that's where the most of the elders and everybody come over at her aunt's house, and we all sit down, fellowship, and eat. But like I said, it's gonna be a good thing this year, and having us, eat at our home and people come over and they get a little bit here, get a little bit there. But other than that, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good Thanksgiving. Like I was saying earlier, you know, if you have a little extra, because most of the time throwing that food away, man, it's bad. Like I always get on my wife and my kids about throwing food away if something's in there too long. And typically by the weekend, I start trying to, go through and start eating most of the stuff out. But like I tell them, I was like, I can't eat all this food by myself, because most of the time the kids they eat something one time, they don't like it, they just let it sit in there. Or they'll make a plate, make too much of it, and they'll let it sit in there. If I don't say anything, I tell my wife, nope, they're gonna eat it. And typically now, since they're home, excuse me, for the holidays, they go ahead and do that. Yeah, yeah. That's one, and then Italian. Yeah, that'd be a good thing too for Christmas. Just doing something different. Cause like I said, the norm. But yeah, with the kids being home, I'm buying way more snacks, and I typically don't even buy that good enough snacks for them. Like, well, like most kids, they have like tons of cookies and chips. I don't have that many snacks like that. Like my friend, he came on my house. He was like, "I see why your kids are always at my house tearing up my snacks, cause y'all don't have no type of snacks over here." I'm like, man, I don't have my kids eating all that sweets and stuff. They don't have candy and a couple of little cookies. And once the cookies run out, that's it. I tell them you eat in moderation, because typically I don't like them going to the dentist with they teeth like that anyway. When my son was, I think he was 7 or 8 around that time. Dude had like 8 cavities, and I looked at the lady and I looked at him. I'm like, where are you getting all this candy from? And come to find out, I gave him once again his allowance. He went with my aunt to Costco. This little boy bought a whole bag, like a family size bag for Halloween, I guess, to give out for Halloween. He literally bought that bag and hid it in his room and was just tearing through that candy, just tearing through. And I would always see these candy wrappers everywhere, and I was like, "Get that candy wrapper! What you doing? Who did this?" And they'll no problem get it up, throw it away, and it just started being more of a habit when I started seeing them. And I started asking, "Where y'all getting this candy from?" And of course, they didn't lie. They went on and told me because it would have been far worse if I would have found out the other way. But I'm like, goodness gracious, this boy had like 7 cabinets, and you just couldn't believe it. But like I say the least, man. Kids are home and start having activities for them. I actually got my kids going over because they have that virtual learning, but they still have the apps they can get on, and plus they were back on assignments. If anybody looked at my last video, you seen that um, my boys. I don't even know if I said this on here, but my sons actually thought it would be a good thing to not tell the teacher that they got laptops at home, and so they wasn't doing their schoolwork from home when she give them assignments, so they had to come into class and do it. And so they was back on a couple of them, even though she is like extra credit work. I made them do all this stuff. So like even now they doing it. And the funny thing is I have that X5 for the home internet for Comcast. So I can cut the internet on and off like the cell phones if because the internet, the connection is bad in there. So once I cut the cell phone, it's spotty. So it's trouble loading and stuff. Even with their laptops, cut the laptop off, cut their gaming console off, even all the way down to the Google's in their room. We have like these Google screens, and we have the Macs in the living room with the camera on there, and the other ones are just Google hubs in each of my kids' rooms, so I can what they call it, broadcast. We do like the I'm sorry, what's the name of those things where they have where they call in each room? But basically, I can broadcast to every room. That's what the function is labeled on there, the broadcast. Where I can call them in the room from my phone and tell them to get up or tell them to do something. It just, that's how I got it like that in the house. It's crazy. Yeah, Valdosta, my son went down to Valdosta. He went to school down there. He actually went to college in Valdosta. My oldest, he's 22 now, and my daughter, she went to Temple. But yeah, just having stuff like that to get the kids ready. Still have that sharpness for school. Of course, I have those books that I tell them they got to get out, and every single day they got to do some type of work. If I don't see any work, they can't get on the internet. I'm like P Diddy around here. I'm shutting down the studio. Y'all ain't did no work today. I'm shutting down the internet. But yeah, man, Thanksgiving's gonna be good. Gonna have the food set up. It's gonna be on point. Gonna have the kids put together. I actually got to go buy them some clothes. I just went through their clothes, like I said, which I'm gonna be donating and giving to some people. And I literally have about 8 or 9 bags of clothes because I got twins. I'm constantly buying like two of everything, or so much because my kids got different styles. You know, so I'm buying so much clothes, and with them, I typically buy more for them. It's a thing that I, didn't have the certain things I want, and like I tell them, if you have good grades, you do what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna buy it. Now, if you're not up to it, you can't get it. Like my son, he wanted these pair of Jordans for 150. I was like, I'll buy you some shoes for about 100, maybe $80. And when he showed me the Jordans for 150, I was like, your grades don't reflect 150 pair of Jordans. So I was like, you need to get your grades up so you can get $150 pair of Jordans. He was a little salty, but I told him, I said, hey, that what comes with it. You know, like they say, the cost to be the boss. That comes with it when you're actually doing good grades. You get rewarded for it. If you don't have good grades, You get the mediocre, and I'm like, still $100 is good. You can get. I think he bought the and this was the crazy thing. He bought the Jordan ones. He bought some yellow and black ones, and then he got a call from the teacher who was messing up in school. So I was like, you got one more chance, getting in trouble. Then he turns around, don't wash the dishes the night before and sweep the floor. So I was gonna bring it with me, but my wife told me that was too cruel. So I just took the Jordans and took them back to the store, showed him the receipt where they debited back to my card. He just looked at me, didn't say nothing. I was like, you can have an attitude all you want. I was like, I kind of went into the old parenting mode style. At the end of the day, you can't beat me, but at the same time, you know the rule. And so, he was a little salty, but he couldn't complain because, like I say, you know the rules. You know you're supposed to engage and do your work properly. And the main thing that I always tell them that I was told when I was young, but if you show your butt to the teacher, I'm gonna take your butt when you get home. You're gonna get a whooping. I mean, that's mainly the only time my kids ever get whoopings when they try to, kind of embarrass more or less my parenting skills. Like I don't teach you this. Like my son ended up cussing in the class one day, and the teacher called, and I explained to him. I was like, "So this is what we doing now." I didn't, whoop him for that, but the whole situation was, you know better than this. I'm like, you're a reflection of me every time you enter that school. So anything you do, it makes the teacher want to examine the parent. But say the least, I've been on here good enough, man. But like I say, Thanksgiving's gonna be good. Have my seafood Thanksgiving. Like I said, I'm gonna run down my list again. I'm gonna have my lobster tails. Gonna have my shrimp and crab pasta. Have my Bubba Gump selection, my butterfly shrimp, bang bang shrimp. Have my coconut shrimp, scampi. Have the I think you might even do lobster pasta. Just a variety. I make a good. It is a soup I got from when I went to Key West. Like a lot of times, I make different recipes. I go to different restaurants, and it tastes good, and I come back and make. I make this soup with Alfredo sauce. I take like the roasted garlic Alfredo, and I take the basic Alfredo. Take those two, and I take one jar of each. Boil up some potatoes in the water for about like 10 minutes or so, and then take them, put them in there with the Alfredo, and boil that up for about another 5 to 10 minutes, and then take some salmon and cut it into chunks, and take the chunks of salmon, put it in there, and I think we did I think Maui, but it depends on the taste. My wife, she typically just like the salmon only. Then of course I put my seasons in there. Best seasons, no salt season, Mrs. Dash or something. Put all that, shake it in there, have good flavor. Of course I add a little extra paprika and parsley in there for the taste. And just eat it like that with some cheddar biscuits. I make some homemade cheddar biscuits and stuff like that. And then we eat that right there for a meal. So I don't know if we're gonna make that this year with all the vegetables and stuff that and everything that we making. I mean, with the vegetables and the seafood. Now I say, of course, we're gonna have the crab boil with the shrimp, sausage, corn, eggs, potatoes in there as well. And then what else am I missing? Crab legs, the scallops, and I know I'm missing a couple other stuff. And like I said, of course, we're gonna have the macaroni and cheese and collard greens. That's pretty much like a every meal delicacy for kids. Basically, the macaroni and cheese and the collard greens, are good. But I think my wife has kale, so I don't even know if we're gonna cook collard greens because I know she bought kale. So we might end up just eating the kale. And most of the time, we use smoked turkey and cook that and just season that up just like collard greens and cook the kale like that. Yep. But Yeah, seafood. Thanksgiving this year, and like I said, it's gonna be good. Like I said, I did it about 3 times, so I know the taste of it. And each time we always add something different and new. Of course, the size and stuff like that, far as the far as the red velvet cake, and we always have. My wife, ever since she moved down to Georgia, she has this thing for pecan pie. Like she said they never really ate it like that. She most ate what is it apple pie up north, but she said ever since she moved down to Georgia, pecan pie has always been her thing. Yep, I have a lot to do too. I still got to do some side work after I get off work. I'm helping one of my friends build a retainer wall, and we're trying to get it done before Thanksgiving. So every day after work, I go over there and knock that out till it get dark. But as I say, I got to run in here, hit this clock. But shout out to everybody that came through. Like I said, be cheerful givers. If you have a little food left over, don't try to wait to, uh, 8 to 10 days before you want to give it away. You pretty much know what you're gonna eat. You know pretty much how much you're gonna eat. Even a lot of times we always overcook. So, make some plates and give it to some homeless people. Try to make some plates and give it to some family members, next door neighbors that, typically don't have people over there and invited. It's nothing just to go next door and say, hey, I got some extra food. Let me make you a plate. Some elderly people stay by themselves, and when it come down to it, hey, they would love that food. Typically the people that can't get out and move around like that. I got two neighbors, a single man and a single woman, but they have family, so they always come over, and they're gonna be, out with their family. I briefly talked to them today. I mean, I'm sorry, yesterday, but more or less they're gonna be out with their family. But typically say I know a lot of that seafood is gonna get ate anyway. The first day is gonna be the killer. I think we're gonna try to cook everything majority by Wednesday and a little bit that morning. So I'm gonna eat probably like two, maybe three times for Thanksgiving, and then just rest on Friday, and then get back at it, and start moving around on Saturday. I'm not doing no Black Friday. I do Cyber Monday if anything. I don't have time to be pushing around and running for no deals and nothing like that. Cyber Monday pretty much has the same thing. Some of them have better deals. But saying the least, you know what I always say? We here and we gone. Shout out to everybody that came through. You right, Mahogany. Donate those coats and donate those blankets and everything for the homeless. I've always, like I said, I generally don't go drop the stuff off. I typically just go down areas where homeless people be and just hand it out. Like I say, shoes and all. Typically, a lot of homeless people don't wear my size, to a point of a 12, but they always say something is better than nothing. I just tighten up the shoestrings tighter and go for what they know. But like I said, once again, shout out to everybody that came through, and we out.